Transforming your life through hypnotherapy has never been easier. With the help of your host, Julie from coachinghypnosis.net, and these power-packed minisodes, you're sure to find yourself engaging in more positive behaviors around both your physical and mental health. Here's your host, Julie.
G'day, it's Julie from coachinghypnosis.net, and you deserve to know the 3 best binaural beat hits for 2022, because people are sick of being friggin' fabulous and fed a bunch of woo-woo baloney about relaxation, meditation, and increased energy levels with binaural beats at the same time. I'm not a therapist or psychotherapist, but this is my 9th year as a clinical hypnotherapist in strategic psychotherapy. I currently help my clients online. They change their life without changing out of their pajamas. And you deserve to know what can be achieved with binaural beats because you're perfect. But I just want to be clear from a hypnotist point of view. Not even the state of hypnosis can be scientifically measured because it doesn't have its own distinct biological signature. And as a hypnotist, if we have a client who's stressed, we don't just want to make our clients feel less stressed. We want to elicit a change so they never feel stressed ever again. But if you're desperate and you can't even relax at all, then maybe give binaural beats a go, because some studies have demonstrated that binaural beats can influence focus, or the technical term known as concentration. But the truth is, binaural beats were first discovered when drum beats were used during rituals of ancient cultures. And research found, on average, the beats were drummed at a steady rate of 4.5 beats per second, and it was observed this constant beat pattern induced a trance-like state for the listener, and maybe that was because the brain was following along at the pace of 4.5 hertz, which to any modern doctor would be known as woo-woo science, because if your entire brain was just one frequency, doctors could probably fix everyone's problems. But as you and I both know, the fact is, using repetitive drumming and chanting, Tibetan monks, Native American shamans, Hindu healers, and master yogis have been able to induce a trance-like state. And the science behind this woo-woo new age sensation known as binaural beats first went mainstream in 1973 in a paper titled Auditory Beats in the Brain, published in the Scientific American by Dr. Gerald Oster. In this paper, Oster concluded it's possible that hormonally induced psychological behavior changes may be apparent by measuring the binaural beat spectrum. And I can only imagine someone like you with your chic taste in music, your respect for luxury sounds of opulent harmonies, kinda already knows what binaural beats are. And for optimum experience, headphones are required for binaural beats to be effective because the brain creates the binaural beat automatically upon hearing the 2 separate tones. Binaural beats typically has 2 tones of a slightly different frequency. The frequencies are sent to the left and right ears through headphones, and the weirdest thing is the brain responds by combining the 2 tones and creates a single new tone. For example, if you listen to binaural beats with both ears, you'll hear a pulse. But if you only listen with one ear of your headphones, you'll hear one musical note held consistently. So if the right ear gets a sound frequency of 205 Hz and the left ear gets a frequency of 200 Hz, these 2 frequencies combine in the brain. The brain creates the mathematical difference between each auditory input, which is 5 Hz. So your brain creates a pulse, a beat, combining 2 tones together. Studies have shown that binaural beats can be extremely effective in making you a bit zen, as they induce low-frequency brain activity, similar to that analysed in the meditation of Buddhist monks. And many meditators use binaural beats to access deeper states of meditation to increase mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. So here are the 3 best binaural beat effects for 2022. Dr. Vincent Guyampapa, the former president of the American Board of Anti-Aging Medicine, found that listening to binaural beats dramatically affects the production of 3 hormones directly related to longevity. First, he found your cortisol levels drop. And as you probably know, cortisol is a stress hormone. because it's produced when we're stressed and anxious. It alters our immune system responses, suppresses the digestive system and the reproduction system and growth processes. So that's a win. Second, he found, your DHEA, which is known as the youth hormone, increases. Your fabulous DHEA goes on to regulate fat and mineral metabolism, sexual and reproductive function, and energy levels. That's friggin' sensational. And third, he found your melatonin increases. And as you know, your melatonin helps control your sleep-wake cycle. And the chief scientist at the EEG Institute, research by Dr. Sigrid Othmer, showed that regular brainwave entertainment usage generated an average IQ increase of 23% in cases where the IQ was lower than 100 to begin with. The average IQ increase was 33 points, and that's a win if you're a total airhead. And your magnificent brain can be measured in some weird and wonderful ways. One of the most amusing would be positron emission tomography, PET, developed in the 1970s. The subjects would be injected or inhale radioactive isotopes, a rather invasive technique, and these traces would flow to different parts of the brain, measuring volume of blood flow that would result in a three-dimensional map of the brain. fMRI is probably the most popular because it can measure the hypnotic state of resting or suggestion. It measures the metabolic activity through oxygen in the blood. During the fMRI technique, your head is enclosed in a highly sophisticated device known as a massive magnet that creates a magnetic field to measure blood flow. And finally, EEG. You've probably seen pictures of it where the electrodes are placed on a person's scalp. Odd numbers are on the left side of the brain and even numbers on the right. But to quote Dr. Joe Dispenza, we generate electrical impulses in our brain moment by moment, whether we're processing information from our environment, engaging in our own personal thoughts, or sleeping. This is happening in various parts of the brain, in millions and millions of different neurons every second. In fact, the number of nerve impulses in the human brain generated in one day is greater than the number of electrical impulses of all the cell phones on the planet. So you don't really have just one brain frequency all over your entire head. It's more cosmopolitan. But an EEG can also measure overall brainwave states like theta, alpha, beta, gamma. But the wizards of binaural beats just love to go on about brainwave states, delta, theta, alpha, beta. So I don't know if you'll choose to get familiar with these terms. But what I do know is Dr. James Matthew, in his book, Binaural Beats, A Beginner's Guide, he explains that you should think about binaural beats in the same way you would listen to a song that makes you feel good. The reason a particular song makes you feel good is because it has certain properties that move your brain into a state of relaxation or joy. That's why a rock song might make you feel energetic, carefree, or classical music might make you feel calm, spacious, content. The same principle applies if you're stressed out. Sit down and listen to binaural beats, a recording that's designed to make you feel relaxed. Dr. Matthews also recommends that binaural beats are safe to listen to, but restrict your listening. No more than 3 30-minute binaural beat recordings per day. And maybe you've noticed that some sports have a natural rhythm or tempo, like football, cycling, swimming, or rowing. And as you already know, these rhythm patterns can influence the breathing pattern. And just like when a composer is creating a piece of music, the music is measured with a metronome to ensure it's measured perfectly. What you might not know is you walk at 29 4-beat measures per minute. That's 116 beats per minute. People run marathons at 188 beats per minute, swim at 84 beats per minute for long distance work, ride bicycles at 168 beats per minute, and best of all, you can dance all night to the magic tempo of 92 beats per minute. And I'm confident someone like you has noticed that when I'm not hypnotizing and I'm podcasting, I talk at 150 to 160 words per minute because it matters if you beat to a different drum to check you're in tune with what you need to do. So what if you thought about binaural beats differently? And what if you didn't? The choice is yours.